everyone. So for this particular documentary, we will going to tackle, investigate, and criticize what happened on the Tenerife airport disaster that happened last March 27, 1977. So for the first slide, I will going to have some overview and the topics that we will going to connect with that particular accident. The human factor, human error, the significant human error, fire safety, and the elements of human factor, 5S, Filthy 15, error management, and SMS also. So on the third slide, there was an introduction. So for the introduction, human factors encompasses a range of elements such as pilot error, communication breakdown, decision making under pressure, and crew resource management. So before I start with the significant human error, I will going to have some brief history on what happened to that particular accident. So last March 27, 1977, two large aircraft, which is two Boeing 747, both of them are routed at Gando Airport, Las Palmas. So the first flight was KLM 4805 and the other one was Pan Am 1736. So both of them are originally routed to Gando Airport, but in some instances there was a terrorist attack that happened in the Gando Airport that requires immediate diversion to another airport or much near airport. So the much near airport was the Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife. So both of them were instructed to head to the nearest diversion airport available, which is the Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife. So for the particular airport is a regional airport. Regional airport means they only cater or they are used to cater smaller aircraft and they are not equipped with an airport or equipment that is being needed to handle a large type or wide type body aircraft such as the Boeing 747. So this airport is not equipped with the radar. So technically the radar sees whether what position is the aircraft and its current position. So for the first significant human factor, as we watch the video, we see that there is an active failure. So for this first picture, I screenshot I took a picture on the when the air traffic controller gave an instruction to the Pan Am 1736 to follow the KLM to backtrack down the runway even though the visibility is deteriorating. So for that, what do you mean by deteriorating? Deteriorating means there is a very low visibility or the visibility was about to go under 8 kilometer visible. So active failure for the part of the air traffic controller. So why is that? So active failure is an action with immediate effect. So for me, I see it as an active failure since given the fact that the airport was not equipped with that particular instrument that is being needed to handle the large type aircrafts. Also, for that particular instruction, he let the two jumbo jets taxi into the runway even though he has no visible reference on where is the aircraft positioned as of the moment. And for that, it is an act of active failure since by the time that he instructed the Pan Am pilot to follow the KLM, supposed to be he should just wait for the KLM to take off first. But instead, by his instruction, it made the things very worst, which caused the catastrophic event. And for the second picture, for the significance of human factor, this is an extraneous error. Extraneous error for the part of the KLM pilot. Well, he decided to full power for them to take off immediately, even though there was no takeoff clearance. So, for reference, extraneous error is an act of performing additional action. So basically, in that particular video that we just watched, the KLM pilot immediately go full power, even though the air traffic controller just gave them an ATC clearance. ATC clearance means air traffic controller clearance, which was given to them in order for them or in order for the pilots to know what they will going to be heading, and the altitude and the route that they will going to take during in flight. So basically, with that particular part, they was not given an takeoff clearance. So the ATC clearance and the takeoff clearance are two different things. So, but instead the KLM pilot just immediately full power the plane, and because he is kind of feeling anxious because they have a limited time to have the flight. So for that, they are a bit anxious because they were being diverted. They waited for about 14 to 15 hours in the air just to arrive or just to take some rest into that airport. But suddenly, due to poor decisioning, impulsiveness, it happened. So for me, it is the part where the KLM pilot has an extraneous error. And for the third picture, that is in the slide, which is the level of consequences. So for this particular event or disaster, the level of consequences that happened was a catastrophic event. Catastrophic event means it cost so many lives that was endangered. So for this particular aviation accident, this was considered as the one of the worst accident due to miscommunication of the pilot and being impulsiveness. So let's go to the next slide, slide number 5. So for the next significant of human factor, we will going to check which is what was the error in aviation in that part. So for the first error, the pilot or flight deck error. Technically or specifically, that was the KLM pilot error. Because due to his immediate reaction or being impulsiveness is one of the best example of how human behave when they are under pressure. So by the time the pilot was feeling stressed, anxiety, tired, and also they are a bit worried since they only have a limited flight time to fly. Since if they exceeded that particular time, they will going to have the chance to be revoked their pilot licenses. So for me, for the impulsiveness of the KLM pilot, since also the KLM pilot was the one of the star pilot that they have in the industry. So for that, that is the best example of what could be the limitation as a human. Even though there are so many people that have this high intelligence, IQ, high EQ, but still we always have to consider that we are just a human and we always have our limitations. For the next picture, the second error in aviation was the air traffic controller error. This is one of the key factor in the accident because, like I said earlier, he instructed the Pan Am flight to follow the KLM to taxi in the runway. Even though both of the KLM and the Pan Am Air is having a hard time to distinguish where are where are their current position as of the moment, because by the time that they are taxiing, there was almost low visibility or about to go zero visibility. So for that, for me, this is one of the errors because also if the air traffic controller just waited the KLM flight to take off and airborne, this accident shouldn't happen or should not happen, since in this aviation, since back in the old days, there are some specific type of rules or air law or regulations that is being observed or being followed. Since it was in 1970s, the air law was not that high tech or was not that detailed. Although both of them, the KLM pilot, the air traffic controller, it was their discretion. Like I said earlier, we as a human being, we also have our limitations.
Clinical psychology. So makikita natin sa screen is yung pilot, and this pilot only thinks about himself and doesn't know how to follow the rules. And clinical psychology can help individuals deal with stress and focuses on the mental well-being of the individual. So this pilot needs to be tested how to deal with stress, and because of the stress of this pilot, he make a bad decision, and it resulted to a tragic accident. So for me, this pilot is sobrang makasarili, and hindi siya nakikinig sa mga sinasabi ng iba. Kung nakinig siya doon sa co-pilot niya, na wag munang umalis, siguro hindi nangyari itong aksidente na to. Kaya for me, sobrang kailangan ng pilot nito ng clinical psychology and need to be tested immediately. So the second elements I found in the video is cognitive science. The ADC made a plan, and it resulted to accident. Their plan was wrong and it resulted to accident, and they lack communication with the pilots. They constantly have to troubleshoot a situation and quickly react to it. This can be a vicious cycle, creating a enormous amount of stress. So this ATC, air traffic controllers, itong dalawang employee nito is wala sa tama yung kanilang plano, and nagkaroon ng matindi aksidente dahil sa kanila. Hindi naman dahil sa kanila, naging part din sila kaya nagkaroon ng aksidente. And they need to be they need kailangan ulit nila mag-aral, and kailangan ulit nila ng proper training paano i-handle yung ganitong situation, lalo na yung mga ganitong situation. Sobrang kailangan ng mabilis na pag-iisip, and para maayos sana ng maayos, and para maiwasan yung ganitong pangyayari. And last part na nakita ko sa elements of human factors is organizational psychology. So always listen to makikita natin sa picture na to yung tatlong main characters sa video. So always listen to what your co-workers have to say and think carefully about the decision to be made. It focuses on evaluating individual, group, and organizational dynamics, and using that research to identify solutions to problems that improve the well-being and performance of our organization and employees. So these employees needs to be kailangan ulit nila mag-aral, kailangan ulit nila mag-training para kung paano makisama sa mga coworkers, lalo na yung isang pilot na hindi siya nakikinig sa iba and masyado siyang complacency sa sarili, and kaya nagkaroon ng matinding aksidente. And yun lang, dapat magkaroon sila ng proper training ulit, or magkaroon sana ng tawag yun, ma'am, yung parang mag-outing kayo ng company para matuto ko makisama. And sa aviation, safety is our priority, kaya dapat magkaroon ng proper training sa lahat ng employees para maiwasan yung mga ganitong accident. That's all. Thank you.
Attention. Let's first start with technical documentation. First officer was rechecking or doing debriefing with the documents he is holding as seen in the frame. The captain got annoyed because he saw the co-pilot rechecking the documents. On his perspective, it was a waste of time. He wanted to fly the plane and not cause any delay. The engineer agreed and sided with the captain. Engineer was complacent and he trusts the captain more since the captain has an image. More of he's well known and been in the industry for a long time. However, there was nothing wrong with what the co-pilot did. Why? It's better to double check, do 3 to 4 times of checking of documents so that, in relation of aviation, there will be no room for mistakes, accidents, incidents, and to ensure that all information is correct. The way to prevent errors in technical documentation is to always double check, do cross-checkings, do team briefings, and include organizing documents. So routine violations. With the captain's comment and annoyance with his co-pilot as a viewer, it seems that he had been doing this routine violation for a long time, since he stated his statements easily, and it was more of like an automatic habit of him of only doing short briefings, with no further or repetitive checking. To prevent this happening, from this to happen again, we must lower our ego and as much as possible, or better, follow the rules, regulations, policies, and prevent being complacent. Information processing. In this frame, it is seen that the air traffic control is in call with someone over the phone, and there's a big black smoke at the background. That was the time when the bombing happened. Air traffic control wasn't informed by the people who got the call from the terrorists, and that there was a bomb at the airport. The reason why I stated information processing is that the person over the phone did not decide and acted quickly by giving the ADC the information. It took some delay, which had made the air traffic control to give instructions to the pilots that are supposed to land at that time, causing a delay of receiving information. Mind you that the bomber gave 10 minutes so that they would give a chance for people to survive. To improve information processing, we must work on our senses, how we perceive things, how we should decide and act upon the situation. Decision making. So all aircrafts that were bound to Las Palmas were directed to the Tenerife. As you can see, both air traffic controls were having a discussion with how they would land these planes in a short period of time. They were also stressed because there were only two people who were on that ship. They were short staffed. Additionally, the airport was small and it can only station small aircrafts. Now comes the part where the captain was stressed about the hours of flying. We all know that pilots only have a certain period of flying, and if they flew more than what they should, there would be consequences such as revocation, suspensions. Now, he made the sole decision to refuel more than what the amount should only be. When flying an aircraft, the amount of fuel that the aircraft would carry would only be enough to where it is bound to go. The captain added more fuel since he wanted the aircraft's fuel to last until the final destination they were headed. This was wrong, because not only he deviated or made a violation, but he also made a decision that caused lives to be lost. Since more fuel meaning more speed to be able to create lift. And in this case, he wasn't able to pull the aircraft up quickly, causing both aircrafts to crash on one another. He also made this decision by himself and did not listen and followed with what the co-pilot said. So when it comes to decision making, if you're a group, try to work as a team and lower ego. Now you can see him trying to push the thrust. He wanted to fly the plane. He was impatient. He did this without even asking ADC for confirmation and approval if they are allowed to take off. It was a good thing that the co-pilot had stopped him before it was completely pushed. However, the captain did a violation by not asking or communicating well with the air traffic control and with his team. Now comes to the part where disaster was about to happen. He disobeyed and did not follow the air traffic control's command. In my perspective, he more of like disagreed with the air traffic control, but also most probably miscommunicated. However, I do lean more onto how he was violated and disregarding with what the air traffic control commanded. When he made the full thrust, he saw the aircraft right in front of him. Now he was processing information, processing what's happening while he was trying to make a decision. To make a decision that he made, to make the decision, and the decision he made was just to fly the plane instead of trying to brake and steer away. He made the wrong decision and made an active failure. His attention was to focus on flying the plane. Probably he was thinking about his passengers too, but based on how the way he thinks, how the way he speaks and acts, it was more of like I need to fly this plane now. Also, he was being tested physically and mentally. That caused more stress. So to prevent this to happen again, when it comes to making decisions, we have 7 steps. So identify the decision, gather relevant information, identify the alternatives, weigh the evidence, choose among alternatives, take action, and review your decision and its consequences. Also, normal practice is to take, or normal practice when it comes to the amount of fuel that the aircraft should only carry what is needed, including the margin of safety, so that it would prevent any accidents or incidents, and also follow the rules to ensure a safe flight.
So what happened in Tenerife disaster is nag-cross sila ng landas nung dalawang airplane, which is yung Pan Am and yung KLM, because of zero visibility sa runway. And nagkaroon din ng miscommunication between the ATC and the pilot. So, improve air traffic control communication, standardization of phraseology to avoid misunderstanding between pilots and air traffic controllers, mandating the use of English as the international language for aviation communication, crew resource management, introducing of CRM training programs to enhance teamwork, communication, and decision-making among cockpit crew members, emphasis on assertiveness and cross-checking among crew to prevent hierarchical dynamics from leading to errors. And lastly, runway safety measures, implementation of stricter protocols for runway incursions, enhanced ground radar system to improve monitoring of aircraft movements on the ground, especially in poor visibility. Tenerife Airport disaster, March 27, 1977, and the crash of the century refers to the structured approach taken to address and improve safety following the accident. The Tenerife disaster revealed numerous deficiencies in safety management, and the subsequent changes and implementations aim to rectify these issues and enhance overall aviation safety. Here's an overview of how SMS principles were applied and evolved from the lesson learned. Safety management overview. Safety management system is a systematic approach to managing safety, including organizational structures, accountabilities, policies, and procedures. It aims to ensure that safety risks are effectively managed and mitigated. Safety policy is the number one nakakasali sa Tenerife disaster. A clear policy statement from management outlining safety goals and responsibilities. Safety risk management. Processes to identify, assess, and mitigate safety risks. Safety assurance, continuous monitoring and evaluation of safety performance to ensure effectiveness. Safety promotion, training and communication to foster a safety culture within the organizations.
We'll be discussing about the 5S in the Tenerife Airport disaster. The first one that I saw is sustain. If they have sustained and maintenance the center lighting, it would have made it easier for the pilots to have visibility along the runway. The second is set in order. The ATC did not fix the positions of the aircraft and contributed to the crash that happened that day. And lastly, sort. The ATC did sort the aircraft in the taxiway.
One of the key lessons learned from the Tenerife disaster was the critical importance of fire safety in aviation. The fire that followed the collision was intense and catastrophic, underscoring significant vulnerabilities in how fires are managed during and after a crash. In the wake of a disaster, the aviation industry undertook a major overhaul of fire safety protocols. These changes aimed to address the specific issues highlighted by the Tenerife disaster and improve overall safety. Here are some key improvements that were implemented. First would be enhanced fire-resistant materials. Aircraft manufacturers began using more fire-resistant materials in the construction of airplanes. This includes improvements to the insulation and interior materials, which help to contain fires and prevent them from spreading quickly. Second would be advanced fire detection system. New fire detection systems were developed and installed in aircraft. These systems can quickly identify smoke or flames and alert crew members and ground staff, allowing for faster response to potential fire hazard. Next is better emergency response training. Firefighters and emergency responders receive more extensive training to handle aviation accidents. This includes simulations and drills that prepare them for the specific challenges of dealing with large aircraft fires. Last would be enhanced communication protocols. The disaster highlighted the need for better communication between the cockpit crew and ground personnel. Improvements in communication protocols help ensure that all parties are aware of and can respond effectively to emergency situations.
So first, stress. Both the KLM and Panam crews face significant stress due to delays and diversions coupled with pressure to meet their schedules. So our solution for this is to mitigate stress, airlines should implement stress management training and provide better rest facilities for their crews. So next one is fatigue. Fatigue was another critical factor. Extended duty times due to delays led to fatigue among the crews. So the solution for this is we should enforce strict duty time regulation and ensuring adequate rest periods can help reduce fatigue. Next is the complacency. Complacency played a role when the KLM captain assumed that he had clearance to take off without confirming. So the solution for this is regular training to counteract complacency and reinforce adherence to procedures is essential. Another one is the distractions. Distraction in the control tower, such as listening to a football match in the region, these reduce focus on critical tasks that they are facing. So the solution for this is non-essential activities should be banned in control tower during operation to maintain focus. Next one is the pressure. The KLM captain was under pressure to meet the airline's schedule, which influenced his decision to take off without clearance. So the solution for this is establishing clear protocols that prioritize safety over schedule pressure is really crucial. So another one is lack of awareness. Poor visibility in the fog led to significant reduction in situational awareness for both flight crews, including the air trans. The solution for this is we should install ground radar and improve airport lighting systems. This can enhance situational awareness. So next is lack of assertiveness. The Pan Am crews was reluctant to assertively communicate their position on the runway. So the solution for this is training crews in assertive communication techniques can help to prevent misunderstandings. Next is the lack of communication. So there were critical misunderstanding between the KLM, Pan Am crews, air traffic control. So the solution for this is we should standard and simplify the communication protocols. It is necessary to avoid miscommunication. So next is the lack of knowledge. The controllers had limited experience handling such high traffic volume since the area they had is really small. So the solution for this is regular training and simulation for handling abnormal traffic situation can improve controller performance. Next is they also had lack of resources. The infrastructure at Los Rodeos Airport was inadequate to handle large aircraft. As I have said, this is small. So upgrading regional airports to accommodate diverted traffic is better, and it is essential. So next is lack of teamwork. There was ineffective coordination among crew members and air traffic control. So the solution for this is enhanced crew resource management. Crew resource management training programs can foster better teamwork. Another one is norms. There was an over reliance on the captain's judgment without proper cross-checking. So solution for this is fostering a culture where all crew members can challenge decisions safely is important. So inability to admit limitation. The KLM captain failed to recognize the dangers of taking off in poor visibility. So the solution for this is we should encourage a safety culture wherein recognizing and admitting limitation is valued. Lack of operational integrity. So the deviation from standard operating procedure contributed to the disaster. So the solution for this is strictly enforcing adherence to operating procedure and conducting regular audits is really necessary. Another one is lack of professionalism. So overall, the lack of adherence to professional standards. So the solution for this is reinforcing professional standards through continuous training and evaluation is essential. So that's all. The conclusion for this Filthy 15 is by addressing these 15 factors through targeted solution, we can significantly reduce the likelihood of similar disaster in the future.
I would like to highlight the improved safety protocols. So in any type of work, either aviation or non-aviation related, we always have to prioritize the safetiness of us and the work environment that we had. Well, this is one of the key factor to reduce hazard or any accident that might happen. The next one is the advancement in training. Although in that particular accident, we all know that the pilots that is with that accident are all experienced, since they are flying a largest passenger aircraft in history, the Boeing 747. It includes so many trainings, so many ground schoolings, so many seminars to attend, and so many experiences to achieve. For that, we all know that they are all experienced, but despite of having those kind of experience, they have to be on that specific accident, unfortunately. That specific accident results in the advancement of the crew resource management, the training programs for the pilot, and the training programs for the air traffic controllers. Lastly, I would like to highlight also the runway safety measures. So after the incident happened or accident happened, the FAA improved the runway safety measures. The hazards within the airstrip or the airport, they minimize it. They also trained or gave an additional training to the air traffic controllers. They also provided additional airport requirements, either what type it is, either Class A, Class B, Class C, or Class D airspace. So technically, this disaster or catastrophic event results in a major advancement in aviation history. I am not saying that I am glad that it happened. I'm just saying that this is an eye-opener for the aviation industry, especially the pilots, the air traffic controllers. There are so much lessons that you can learn from that video, even if in the simplest words to speak, you have to be precise. So for this, we therefore conclude that our top priority will be the safety protocols, improvement of safety protocols at all times. So that is our group for the Tenerife airport disaster. Thank you, everyone.